Making our home buyers' dreams become a reality is an important part of my job, and I can't do that without the right people, people who understand the mortgages and the options that are available. Steve Currington, Currington Mortgage, explain to us the different types. I mean, people think FHA and conventional, that's all they've ever heard of. Right. How many different types of loan programs and options are there for today's home buyers?
Well, there's several. FHA and conventional are the two big ones. One common thing that we get is that FHA is just for first-time buyers. One thing that I tell people is it's not just for first-time buyers. In fact, anybody can utilize it as long as you don't have another FHA loan.
FHA is about a lower down payment.
Yeah, it's just originally designed to help lower income families that weren't able to save 20% to put down on a house. They give them their 3.5% down to get them into a house at a lower cost. So those are available to anyone, provided you don't have another FHA loan currently. And there are some extreme circumstances that you can have another FHA loan.
But that gets into some obscure stuff and really something that you go into.
FHA later. Conventional are the big ones. The other thing we get is, well, if you do a conventional loan, you have to put 20% down, and that's not the case either.
That's not true. No. 20% that's a fallacy. That's
right.
Not true.
There's plenty of programs out there for conventional, 5, 10, 15% down if you want to. A lot of that strategy for customers. Well, they think they have to put 20% down, and we say, well, you don't have to. So let's look at the other options, and we can see what other programs might be available.
And what works best for your financial circumstances.
Yes, and I'm a big fan of down payment. I think people should be invested in their property. I think that's great, but I don't believe that you should take everything you have and stick it into the equity in your house.
Or to necessarily wait 10 years to buy a house if owning today is really in your best interest.
Right, and if you're letting, I don't have 20% down, get in between you and buying a house in the next year or 6 months or whatever the time frame is. The other thing that people don't know are there's a lot of programs out there that are designed to help people get into houses without any money down. VA is one of them we've talked about in the past.
That's for veterans.
If you're a veteran, you can get in with no money down. It's a 30-year fixed rate, real low. They're under 5% now. 15 years are even better. It's got no monthly mortgage insurance. You can literally come to the table with nothing. You can bring nothing to the table. Have the seller pay your closing costs. They can pay all of them. The other is there's some programs local to our market, to Tulsa. Community Action Project is a great program.
CAP.
Everybody calls it CAP. CAP is deeper and wider than anybody would ever guess. I mean, it's a huge organization, but one small part of it is down payment assistance, and they use that down payment assistance for lower income families to be able to get up to 5% of their purchase price in the form of down payment assistance or closing costs, up to $5,000. So if you buy a $100,000 house, and you meet those qualifications and income with Community Action Project, they do all kinds of things for buyers, which is great. Planning their budget and their debt-to-income ratios and things like that.
It's really an educational process that's very valuable to consumers, and I think stuff like that, if more people had that type of assistance and education, we would have fewer problems today.
Yeah, I think you're correct. And in fact, there's many times, I wouldn't say many, there's been a few times where we would approve someone's loan, but their debt ratios were too high for them to get that assistance because they said, we're not comfortable with their ratios being that high, where the underwriting guidelines said, yes, but they said you can't get our assistance because you have too much debt. You're not able to. So it really does do a lot to educate that consumer and what kind of debt they should.
And help them know when to put the brakes on.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if there's nothing but a sales, if it's just a sales process, the whole process, everybody's wanting to say, yes, yes, go get it. And there's nobody there to say, wait a minute, here's the reason. Let's back off. Let's do this right. It's only going to be another 6 months, another year, but let's get it right.
Exactly. It helps everybody make a better decision, and I think that's what customers want, is they want to make sure they make the best informed decision that they can make.
There's rural development?
Yes, this is another one that's huge, and especially in Oklahoma. Rural development's 100%, so if you're not a veteran, you can do this, many names for it, USDA, RD, RND, rural development. It's all the same loan.
The same people who put a stamp of approval on your meat can give you a loan.
Yes, and that's the same thing that everybody says when they say, well, I thought they regulated meat. Well, they do. But they also do all kinds of commercial stuff for developing rural areas, and they do some residential stuff for residential buyers. 2 restrictions. Buy a house that's in a qualifying area. Wasso, East Broken Arrow, south of the river in Bixby, Glenpool, West Sand Springs. There's lots of areas that are eligible. You don't have to be out in the sticks and 20 miles outside of town. But Owasso is a big community, and the entire community is eligible for this program.
Time out. I'm getting dizzy because of all the information you're giving me.
Right.
Telephone number.
394-5626. That's 394 loan. I'm Steve Currington. You're watching The Future of Real Estate.